Ladies and gentlemen, this is Kurt Sasek, president of Winetasters Choice. I am very proud to announce we have Jules Taylor, and she is the owner and winemaker of Jules Taylor Vineyards in the Marlborough region of New Zealand. Thank you very much for your time, and we are massive fans of the wine, as I said. And could you just please start with how you went from working in wineries to owning your own. Like I said in the email, I used to be a chef, and what do you do if you want to own your own place? You start working, you work your way up to chef. Hopefully your food is kicking enough butt to where people like it, and then you find investors, and hopefully you take over the world.
Yeah, we're trying, but I think we're a long way from world domination. But I mean, my whole life, or my whole career, I've worked for other people, as you said, and I never imagined at any stage, it just didn't even enter my head that I might be able to do my own thing. But while I was working for a contract crush facility that made wine for Kim Crawford and St. Clair and a couple of other small brands, they basically, my employers basically said, look, you only know how to make wine. You have no idea about the rest of the business, like sourcing fruit and then deciding when to pick it and getting packaging designed. And then actually, taking the wine to someone like you and saying, hey, Kurt, here I am. Can you taste my wine? And if you like it, buy it. So they said, why don't we fund you into doing your own thing? And I thought, oh, that sounds like fun. At the time, again, never imagined that I would leave my real job and that this would just be a little kind of moonlighting thing on the side, and that was back in 2001. So, getting on quite a while ago. Hair's got a lot grayer since then.
Mine fell out.
And so I made a whopping 400 cases of just two varieties, Riesling and Pinot Gris. And yeah, I ended up, I don't know, it just kind of evolved and grew. And then my husband started working in the business. And we had a couple of kids, and I was still working a full-time job and, really doing nothing very well, trying to juggle all those balls like, many people do. Mm-hmm. So something had to give, and, the easiest thing to stop doing was to go to a real job, right? So I handed him my keys and said, I'm going to give this thing a go and see if it can feed our family. So in must have been October 2008, I started working full-time in the business. And look, owning your own business, it's not all shits and giggles, I tell you. It's a lot of hard work, but, all the work that you do,
it's for you.
It's for you. But that's, any kind of, we have ups and downs anyway because of Mother Nature, and that I think is one of my favorite things about working in the industry is that not every vintage is the same. Because of the growing season, we have variations in everything. So it's good. It's not like making Coca-Cola where you just dial up the same recipe every day and, churn out the product.
So you had people basically kind of back you, basically.
Yeah, so they fully funded the project for, it was 5 vintages. So they paid for all the fruit and the packaging, and we had a very rudimentary Excel spreadsheet that we, pushed the sum button, and if it was black at the end of the year, we would split the profits. Back then it was tiny, but it gave me a really good insight into, it's a challenging business, and things change all the time, and, people change their minds, and oh my God. And so just, getting your head around all the aspects of it, it's been a really great, a bit of a steep learning curve at the beginning, but it's been fun. So in 2006, George and I purchased all the stock, decided it was time to go it alone and put our big girl and boy pants on and actually see if we could make it work.
Okay, well, that's great. So obviously so how many countries is Jules Taylor wine in now?
So, the main markets for us are the US, of course, New Zealand and Australia. They would be the 3 largest markets we sell wine in. But then just little random bits into, places like Poland and the Netherlands, the UK, Ireland, a little bit into Asia, and Rarotonga. So I'd say probably maybe 8 or 9. So not, I mean, for us, because we are small, it's easier to manage, a smaller number of countries and try and grow the business in those ones than to do the scattergun approach and go to a million different countries, because that takes a lot of admin.
Yeah. And so actually, that makes me think of a question. So, if I'm not mistaken, a boutique winery puts out what, about 50 to 100,000 cases a year? Is that right? So when you say you're a small business, what in the wine business, what's considered a big business? How many cases a year, and what's considered small business for a reference point?
Well, I mean, I suppose it's all relative in the country you're in, but I mean, we make about 50,000 cases, which for me, I mean, that's still reasonably small. Of that, nearly 80% would be Sauvignon Blanc. So, it's quite heavily skewed to that variety. But yeah, I would say we're sort of small to medium size.
Okay. Yeah, I think large would be like like Kendall Jackson. I picked them because they're just such a big. They're what, about 1 million cases a year?
Yeah, I mean God, if we were at 100,000, I would say that would be big, but that's not going to happen. Also, because we have that, we only own one vineyard and we lease one vineyard, but the rest of our fruit is from contract growers. So we have about 13 different contract growers that we work really closely with, throughout the growing season. And, the bigger you get, I mean, the harder that is as well, because it's just,
so
more people, more personalities, more, yeah.
So a contract grower, is that somebody you basically source out that aspect of the business? You tell them, I want this many grapes a year, and this is what I want, and you kind of dictate the parameters, and then
yeah. So basically, we say, and a lot of these growers we've had for quite a few years, and we basically say, okay, this block of Chardonnay that might be, I don't know, 2 hectares, we'll take that. So the crop, it's not a tons thing, because I mean, then at the end of the year, if they've got leftovers, that becomes difficult for them. So we basically, it's by area. So the tons, off a certain block will come to us, and we just pay them a per ton price for that fruit.
Okay. And well, let me ask this question, because this is one of the most important reasons. Could you please, what points would you want people to talk about when they're selling your wines? What are the most important? What are the most important messages you want conveyed to customers if we're going to sell? If somebody's going to sell them Jules Taylor wines?
I mean, for me, it's letting them know that we're a mum and dad outfit. We're a small family-run business that's trying to feed 2 skinny kids and educate them, and tell them that. I mean, I think we're making wines that are true of the variety they are. So they speak of the variety. I mean, they're wines that speak of the place they're grown. They're very distinctive in that aspect. And also, I mean, they're really reasonably well priced. I think they're wines that, I think they over-deliver at the price point.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a great value, and it's a great tasting wine, and consistent. So, and what, speaking of what you said, that the wines speak of the place, I understand terroir and the concept and so on and so forth. But what is it specifically? If you grow Sauvignon Blanc in Sancerre, it's going to taste completely different than New Zealand. It's going to be more straw, grassy, minerally. But in New Zealand, the Sauvignon Blancs, the overall characteristic you get is either the grapefruity or the kind of unripened tropical fruit character. What is it about New Zealand specifically that gives that character? I've always been curious about that.
Yeah, well, I think it's more a Marlborough specific thing, not just New Zealand, because throughout New Zealand you can have quite different styles as well in terms of the flavour profile. But I think Marlborough, the big thing here in the summertime, we have beautiful, nice, warm days. We never get hot like you get hot. It's very low humidity. But at night time, when you go to bed, you put your duvet, you're snuggling in. There are very few nights that you can sit outside in the evening without a jacket or a jumper. That just doesn't happen here. Okay, so nice warm days, but very cool nights. And so you get the fruit at harvest time retains a nice, bright, juicy acidity. The wines are high in acid, especially the Sauvignon Blanc. And so I think that combined with the soil, I think that's where you get that really, really pungent, leap out of the glass, says, here I am, Marlborough Sauvignon Blanc.
Right. And like the Sauvignon Blancs from California. Now, California, if I'm not mistaken, doesn't it get, it's hotter overall than New Zealand? Is that okay?
Way hotter than what we would get.
So that's why.
You don't get any of that kind of herbaceous end of the spectrum.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Fruits.
So you get ripe style, lower in acid. Yeah, completely different.
Because if I'm not mistaken, hotter climates generally mean lower acidity, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.